Hello and welcome to this beginner's tutorial for Robocraft. So you decided to take the plunge and you wanted a little information on Robocraft to give yourself a leg up on the competition. So that's what we intend to do here in this video. The first thing I'll tell you is when you're registering your account to begin playing Robocraft, enter this code, promotional code in, and it'll give you an extra 1,000 RoboPoints. With RoboPoints you can do things like buy blocks and different equipment to create better robots. So the code is Steam Launch, all in capitals, a dash, and then 1000 RP, and that's all capitalized. And that will just add 1,000 more RoboPoints to the 250 they give you at the beginning. So let's take a look here at your first robot. This is being Garage 1, and talk a little bit about it, and just go ahead and upgrade this robot to be better suited for your first matches and let you win more and scale up the ladder a little sooner, getting to the higher tiers. So the first thing I'll tell you is there's a couple good and bad things on this robot. First of all, the width is good for a beginning robot, and then also the redundancy in the wheels here is good, but some things are not so fantastic, like the glass here is not a good protection, and having your driver right up in the front where everybody can see you and shoot and kill you quickly is a bad idea too. So what we're going to do in this video is remodel our first robot, Robo1, a little bit. So how we're going to get started here is just by removing this glass. You remove blocks with your right click. So we're going to go ahead and take out all this glass to make this a more efficient robot. You can also take out the headlight. That's what that little thing is. Alright, so that's what you should be left with. We're in this, we see light blocks are the white ones and the gray are heavy blocks. For right now, the only thing available are these. So, and the idea is just get this robot in better working order for your first matches. Okay, go ahead and pick up the pilot seat as well. Same way, just right click on it. And what we're going to do is we're going to move your pilot back a little bit. So we're going to also pick up these two blocks, alright, and we're going to put your pilot right on there. Go ahead and also pick up these two, what they call inner blocks, with the missing corners. And we're going to go ahead and remodel the floor here as well. So we'll pick up all these prisms, that's the triangle looking blocks, and that's what they call them. So we'll go ahead and do that. Go ahead and pick these prisms off as well to begin. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and now get your driver out. Now, one of the quick keys to get into your inventory is Q by default on the keyboard, so get used to that. I'll be using it a lot. And drivers are under special, so if you hit that tab, you'll need a driver to control your vehicle. So that's required on all vehicles. You got to put the driver's seat in. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to go in here to your inventory, again by pressing Q. And let's go ahead and start adding some blocks to the front of the vehicle. One of the things I'd like to do is make it a little bit more substantial up front, so we're going to grab a couple of these inner cubes, and you can swivel these around, at least by default, by scrolling your mouse wheel. That seems to work on, this is for PC by the way, what I'm using. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll add some of these blocks here. And these cubes are free. And generally cubes are the heaviest block, so people try to get away from using lots of cubes in their builds later on. But for beginning, this is going to be just fine. We're going to start by building one low platform here on the bottom. So we'll add these cubes back in across the front like this. Alright, and then let's go ahead and build another layer here. Alright, and then here we're going to go ahead and use some of these prisms to kind of give us the next layer up. This makes it look a little nicer too. I guess I'll remove that cube and we'll make it a prism as well. So we should be able to get a couple more guns here on the front, and that's kind of the idea. I don't want to build this vehicle up too high, but I do want to give you extra armor in the front of it so you don't get your driver shot, because what players in this game try to do is they try to shoot the block out from underneath your driver's seat, and that's what will kill your pilot, is when the block under your pilot seat is destroyed. So you want to try to protect that and not do things like put it up in the front with this glass armor like you get on this initial vehicle. So this should help your survivability. Alright, next we are going to go ahead and fill in the bottom here. Let's just use cubes again. We're not going to get too fancy on this build. But, you know, if you wanted to save a little weight, you could also use inners here. But this will be fine. Alright, so we got that all filled in. Let's go ahead and do another layer. And again, we're going to go 2 back. Alright, so we should have a vehicle that looks like this so far. Alright, we're going to go ahead and go up another layer. So we're just kind of building a tiered shelf here. You can leave that one open. Let's go ahead and remove all these prisms too. And we're going to make this a little more solid with these cubes. We'll go back to prisms here on the side. And then we'll go ahead and use these inners to come out, so you have another spot for a gun right in the middle. To make this a cube. Alright, so that gives us a nice spot for another gun. And also adds pretty good armor. And what I want to do too is try to get our driver so he's totally encased in blocks. He's a little harder to figure out where to shoot. Alright, but we are going to have to go back another layer here to give us room for our gun to turn. So we'll go across again with another layer of blocks. And then on this level, I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and go up again with prisms. And that way it makes it a little bit harder to see exactly where our driver is. Now you can't put a block 2 above where the pilot is. It has to be 3 or higher. So what we can do though is build out a little bit like this, and then put one of these prisms right here on top like this, connected to the cube behind it, and it just kind of creates a false roof. But it, you know, the less people know exactly where to shoot, the better. So this is going to kind of help hide your driver and make you survive just a little bit longer. I'm just going to leave this open because you want room for these guns to turn in the next couple of tiers. Before every time you upgrade these, the radius of the swivel gets a little bit wider, and eventually you won't be able to get guns on this vehicle. So we'll just continue with this, or I'd recommend to continue with this for like maybe 2 tier progressions, and then you will probably want to just go ahead and build your own robot from scratch. We'll do 2 inners there, a cube here at the back, and then two prisms on either side. Again, it gives us a nice platform here if we want to put a rear cannon or satellite or some radar dish, excuse me, on the back. And the rest of the vehicle looks pretty good, so we can leave that as it was. For here, I guess we'll go ahead and add 2 blocks to the side again, just to help protect the wheel well a little bit more. Alright, that should be much better as far as survivability. In this game, 6 SMGs or 6 plasma, pretty much 6 of any kind of type of gun, will fire at one time, I guess excluding sniper rifles, which you get a little later. So let's go ahead and put 2 more guns on. Looks like that's probably all the CPU we have when we first start. As you see up there by where it says level 1 in the top left-hand corner, we're at 421 right now. So we could add a couple more blocks and stuff, but when you win your first matches and you level up, you'll be given more CPU, and then what I'd recommend is go ahead and add more guns to begin with. You could put one up here on the top when you get your first level. Alright, so we've created a nice base for you, added 2 more guns. We have 4 more CPU left over. So let's go ahead and go back and grab some of our blocks that we got initially. And we'll add a little bit more armor to the side here. I guess we just go down 2 more from the rear, and it gives you a little bit more room later to add more things to the top. Like a flipper would be a good idea after you won a couple games. And then let's go ahead and put our prisms on the side again, like this. And that will also make it a little harder for people to shoot your tires off if they're at a angle from you, like up on high ground. Alright, so that wraps it up for this tutorial. You now have a maximum CPU bot to start your first game with. This should offer you a lot better survivability and also give you more firepower too. Like I said, when you get your levels up and are able to add more things to it, I'd recommend putting a couple more guns on it, maybe going to 8 to start with, and then also things like radar and whatnot once they're unlocked in your tech tree, which you access by pressing T on your keyboard. You can add those things to your vehicle too. And this would probably be suitable frame to go with up through about tier 3, and then you might want to redesign something completely different. And when you get to that point, you're looking for other robot ideas, come visit me here at Gamer Guide channel, as I occasionally put out different ideas and builds for Robocraft. Well, hopefully this is helpful, guys. Thank you for joining me, and good luck out there in Robocraft.